So that's when I was...
When you were what?
Did I already tell you about my brain fleet? Oh, hello there.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us once again for this, the 110th episode of the Drunk Factory podcast, wherein we discuss the
110th cereal, the Leisure Hive.
Ew.
Now, this is the DVD, but I also have it on Blu-ray because Tom Baker's 7 seasons out.
We watched it on Blu-ray, right?
Mm-hmm. We did, but I like showing the DVD cover because the Blu-rays don't have all the covers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Smaller.
Yep. Anyway, great cereal.
Drinking today.
I have Magma Flame. Put on. And you have Twisted Tea. These are both our old standbys. All right.
Sponsored by?
No, we're not sponsored by anybody. I would love to get some Patreons. That'd be great. But that means I'd have to put more stuff in Patreon.
Do you know half of the product placement in shows like SNL is fake?
I believe it.
It's just for comedy.
Yeah. Right. And they get away with it because they're parody.
Yeah.
Alright. So anyway.
Sponsored by the parody of...
Alright. So episode 110, The Leisure Hive. There were 4 episodes, and they were broadcast from August 30th, 1980 to September 20th, 1980.
We're in the 80s, baby.
Yep.
There's a whole new intro to show it, too. It's all sparkly and shiny, and everything's bedazzled.
This is Tom Baker's final season, the 4th Doctor.
New outfit for Tom Baker. He looks like Carmen Sandiego, all red.
Yeah, new outfit. Unfortunately, the show starts going downhill here.
Does it?
Yeah. His first 6 seasons were magnificent. The 7th one, not as good. The new intro, the new producer, the new outfit, it all kind of starts going downhill.
You like budget-wise, or just, what do you think the issue with the budget?
Oh yeah, they were trying to starve this in the 80s. I mean, it's not bad yet, but it'll get bad in the 7th Doctor.
K9 was floating along on the sand with the strings. And
Okay, our companions are K9 and Romana. Barely K9. He's in it for like 15 seconds.
In the preamble.
Yeah, he goes into seawater and he explodes. Okay, so...
antagonist. Who? What's the name of your antagonist? Chobani.
Okay, what are those other creatures called?
Well, most of them
Formosi or whatever?
Yeah, the Famasi. Those were good guys, but one
a
of the
couple of them were bad.
2 of the
and we thought they were all bad for a long time. Famasi and what's his name? Patagonia or whatever?
Pangol,
yeah. Alright.
That's right.
Pangol. Okay, so there are only 4 episodes.
Oh yeah, Pangol is the...
Yeah, he's the main episode. Alright. So the episodes, there's 28 episodes in this season, season 18. I'm assuming because they had some money left over from the writer's strike last season, which abrogated Shada. So instead of getting the usual 26 episodes, we have 28. And they are 7 serials of 4 episodes each. This might be the only time in Tom Baker's run we get 7 serials, I think. I think the rest of them are all 6.
Oh.
Yeah. And rather than have like an 8-parter, they decided to do 2 4-parters.
Yeah, lumped it in there.
Yeah.
It's kind of the feeling you get.
Oh yeah. So anyway, the Doctor and Romana are supposed to be on holiday. They're not. Well, I mean, they're trying, but they're at the cold beach at the wrong time.
They still have the randomizer kind of and the TARDIS, except he's kind of been skipping around with it. Yeah. So he ends up at the right beach, but during the wrong season.
Brighton Beach.
It's cold.
Yeah. It's cold, and so anyway.
Then Gorn shows up.
Well, first of all, Romana throws a beach ball into the seawater and tells K9 to fetch. K9 goes into the seawater. His head explodes.
Just the second he touches an ounce of water.
I mean, so not good for K9.
Apparently his seawater protection circuit was not worse.
So he's gone. We do not see him for the rest of the serial.
Almost 4 episodes.
Alright. Anyway, she's in it for about 15, 20 seconds.
So that's our first death of the serial.
Yeah. So Romana's like, hey, Doctor, K9 was telling me about these leisure planets. And I want to go to this one, Argo. And it's interesting because they haven't done this before, but as she's talking about it, the camera the picture gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and you see the stars and stuff from the intro behind it as it goes, as it kind of winks out.
Yeah, we have the new 80s intro, so Doctor's face comes out of the star.
The stars rather than
alignment.
Yeah.
Well, it's very sparkly.
It is.
I feel like you need to wear sunglasses watching the intro.
So anyway, it's 4 episodes, and it still seemed a little stretched out.
Yeah, we had some long recaps. Yeah.
Some long recaps and a whole bunch of video of the shuttles docking over and over again, the same ones.
Big zoom out of the miniatures, and then it lingers just a little too long on every miniature zoom out shot, and you're just like, okay, I get it.
They were trying to fill the 24, 25 minutes or whatever they needed.
So budgetary strike thing, probably.
Well, no. Like I said, we have an extra couple episodes this season because we didn't get shot of last season because they still had the money.
You just kind of stretched it out, do you think?
Well, they had the extra money. I just think some stories, you got to pad it up because it doesn't quite make the 100 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I think it would have been too short for a 3-parter, but it was too long for a 4-parter. But you get a little extra padding, it's okay.
Recaps.
It is a really, really, really straightforward serial. They show up on the planet, they wander into the crowd, and they're showing tachyon fields. This generator that can make a tachyon image of you and mess around with that image, like pulling it apart and whatnot. But tachyon images are incredibly unstable and they disappear pretty soon.
So tachyons are a hypothetical type of light particle that moves faster than the speed of light.
They can basically teleport from one spot to another.
Right, yeah. In theory, it because it moves faster than the speed of light, it kind of interacts weird with time and so I get excited when sci-fi topics like this come up. Like, we theorize if something is possible, then it shows up in your next Star Trek episode. Like, we had tachyons in that one movie that came out, Tomorrowland. It just reminds me when I hear about something in a school or some YouTube video, and then it shows up in a TV show. It's like when you're watching Star Trek and Kirk is like, is that a Dyson sphere? And
speaking of which, I saw him Friday.
Yeah, how was that?
That was great. Saw William Shatner. He was here in Lubbock, and he's 90-some years old, so I figured this might be my last chance to see him.
Yeah. Well, he's in good health.
Yeah, he seems very jovial.
Cool. It was Picard. Picard was the one in the episode with the Dyson sphere.
And they asked him how he lived so long. He said, fried foods.
Fried foods. There you go.
Then he gave a proper answer, but I love the first one.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah. Oh, if you haven't noticed, I finally got a lamp. It's one of those ring things that...
It's illuminated.
Illuminated, yeah.
You no longer look like the mysterious quest giver in the corner of the tavern.
Aragorn.
Yeah, it's just all shaded out. Sitting over here.
Okay. So anyway, Pangal is giving the deal. He's a young Argonian. He's a young Argolian, and
they have little Fruit of the Loom berry patches on their.
Well, they've got green B-52 hives.
A Wicked Widow's Peak.
Well, they're green B-52s, and then at the top is this little kind of Christmas tree thing with some little blueberries on it. And apparently, as you're dying, the blueberries fall off.
Yeah, it's real gross. Every time one of their blueberries falls out, they have a stroke. And
a mini stroke.
It's a rough way to go.
It is. Okay, so come to find out that their planet was destroyed in a war with another planet.
A whole 20-minute war.
A whole 20-minute war with all these interplanetary missiles destroying each other. The few Argolians that survived now run this Leisure Hive. Leisure Hive. And they were trying to do something good out of the destruction of the planet.
They're focusing on the arts and recreation as a way to bring together species to avoid future wars. They're trying to
correct, and that's the big thing of the older Argonians.
It was kind of creepy to me though how they breached it. It kind of felt very. What was that movie you watched, The Congress? It feels like escapism to where they're kind of running away from reality. When technology gets so advanced, escapism turns into very dystopian kind of.
Dude, we're practically there.
Right, with the VR and stuff. I don't know. Just seeing them using tachyons for
wanting to stay at home and play on their computers all the time and only interact with other people that way. And so anyway, I
don't think it was meant to be creepy, but it came across as creepy.
So Pangal shows this technology to an Earth tourist, but the technology doesn't work well because the Earth tourist goes in and he actually gets torn apart. It's not the duplicate, the unstable tachyon image. It's actually the guy, and he screams, and they shut it down. And
so that's her first death.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Morix, the old guy who's kind of like the chairman, he's his blueberries are falling out of his head.
Yeah, he's dying.
While they're doing this demonstration, he goes horribly wrong, rips Loman apart.
Right. In the meantime, there's a lawyer on Earth who Brock, what's his name? Yeah, Brock's the lawyer. And who's the chairman?
Morix was the old chairman.
Yeah. Morix and several other people have been talking to. Then they're talking to him via video phone.
Oh, Clout was the lawyer.
Clout?
Clout.
Which one was Brock?
Brock was the Earth lawyer.
Okay.
Or the Earth sign. He was one of the Earth people.
Okay. I think he was the lawyer that never speaks.
I think that was Clout was the one that never
Clout was the lawyer. Okay. So, they've been talking about video phone, and then Brock shows up on the next shuttle. He shows up, and he says, hey, he had turned down a directorship on the board. They wanted him to bring in some funds, and they would give him a directorship on the board in return. He turned it down. But then he shows up, and he's like, hey, I finally get to see you in person after all that time talking on the video phone. And he's like, I may have a proposition for you. There's some people who want to buy you out. And he's like, buy out the Leisure Hive, then we can't live on the planet. He says, no. They want to buy the entire planet.
Yeah.
And it's the Fomori?
Yes, the Famasi.
Famasi, and it's the Famasi. And, the chairman's like, no, we lost the war to them, but, I mean, if we sell them the planet, that'd be like losing... Twice, yeah. It's like...
We live here.
Yeah, we live here. And he's like, well, this is a good offer. And he's like, no. Unfortunately, in the meantime, he passes away.
He does.
His berries get down to like 1 or 2, and then they have this really weird effect.
Close up,
and he dies.
He turns into a force ghost and started just sci-fi death.
There you go.
He's quickly replaced by the lady chairman.
His wife.
Mina.
That's his wife.
What was her title?
Mrs. Chairman. Yeah. Once he passed away, she was apparently hereditary. She became chairman.
So she's in charge now of the Leisure Hive.
Right. And she shows up on another shuttle. Like I said, lots of pictures of shuttles docking. And they're like, okay, you were supposed to be here with the scientist Hardin. Wait. Hardin? Hayden.
Hardin? No, you're right. Hardin. Hardin, Earth scientist. Hardin.
Yeah. Supposed to show up with Hardin. And she says, well, he's on the shuttle behind me. Because apparently there's 85 shuttles a day coming in and out of this place or something.
Conveniently, the doctor shows up and he is mistaken as the Earth scientist. Hardin.
Well, yeah, because he runs up and he runs up to help the guy who got ripped apart in the generator.
Right, Loman.
Yeah. He gets mistaken for Hardin, and then they take him and Romana to see the new Mrs. Chairman.
And then the doctor's like, it's a good idea if I sneak away and I also enter inside the tachyon machine.
Wait. No, yeah, right.
They're complaining to the Earth scientists about wanting to use the technology to rejuvenate. And then the scientist takes Romana and the doctor into the place to look at it, but he doesn't. The financer guy doesn't want them to inspect the equipment because they kind of what do you call that?
Sabotage?
No, and you're being lax with the truth.
Lying?
Yeah. They kind of lied about it working.
But they misled at least.
They're being very misleading on the stability of the technology.
Yeah, there are weird parts of this story that run really fast, and there are weird parts of it that run really slowly. The pacing is a little off, but I understand why they had to do that to get the appropriate cliffhangers at the end of every episode.
Right.
So anyway, Mina's like, hey, look at this, and she shows a video of Hayden doing an experiment with the tachyon field, rejuvenating an older lady into a young lady. And she says he's figured out the technology. This works. At that exact moment, the Dr. and Romana walk in, and she's like, "Who is this?" Well, it's Earth scientist Hayden. She's like, "That's not Hayden." And I was like, "Oops, sorry, misunderstanding." And he moseys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm also a doctor. And here's Romana.
Yeah.
And he sneaks out.
They sneak out at one point. But she's trying to put them basically under arrest.
Mm-hmm.
And they sneak away. Wait.
Because they don't have clearances.
IDs.
Yeah.
She's like, everybody's identified, but not you two. He's like, well, we came in a unique way. Our usual way, uniquely, yeah. And apparently nobody notices the TARDIS or something.
It just kind of shows up.
Yeah, it just sits there. Okay, there's only 6 places in this entire Leisure Hive.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
You're talking about the sets?
Yeah. There's the main room with the generator where everybody seems to gather most of the time.
It's like the showroom.
Yeah, the show. There is they show a single guest quarters,
mm-hmm.
the green one. There's the boardroom.
Yeah.
There is a corridor.
The hallway.
Yeah.
It looks like they filmed it at like a storage unit. Everything's made out of sheet metal and.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a set they built. There's a laboratory.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and a single observation deck that they show at the beginning of the 3rd episode.
And, a couple of miniatures, and that's about the whole set.
Yeah. I mean, this one was it doesn't feel claustrophobic until you think about it. It's pretty small leisure. I don't know where all these other people are staying.
Every time 2 people need to be in that corridor or the hallway, you're like, that's a small set. Look right.
Anyway, we see this bug alien-like creature who looks in at several different points.
Yeah, there's
on the goings-on.
This reptilian-looking guy with the red eyeball is kind of sneaking around and watching the experiments. And you see he puts his little claw hand on the controls.
Yeah, it's like not quite a Sontaran hand. It's
just it's just kind of lurking around in the shadows every time there's a lore thing happening on the screen.
Okay, so wait, where does the first episode end?
We're on episode 2. The first episode ended when Loman was delimbed in the tachyon.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry, end of episode 1. The leader, the chairman had died first. That guy gets pulled apart. End of episode 1. Mm-hmm. And we're in episode 2, and Hardin shows up, and he's got a friend with him who is his financer. What was that guy's name?
It wasn't Cloud, was it?
No. Starts with an F or something, I think. Stimson, yes. Stimson with an F. No. Anyway, so Stimson is a sleazy guy, and
he's the one that has been encouraging the scientists to lie about how successful their experiments are for extra funding.
Right.
And the doctor, well, he's been sneaking off. He's been mumbling to himself about how the image doesn't seem accurate. Or
no. And he talks about that with Romana.
Right.
Romana recognizes, and the doctor recognizes, that the video of the successful experiment is a fake.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's an image.
Right. The doctor and Romana had gotten away, but then they get caught. Again. And the doctor... Okay. And the bug creature, the Famasi, he is lurking around. He cuts his way in.
Yeah.
He literally cuts his way in.
Oh, yeah. He cuts through the sheet metal.
Yeah. But he puts some sort of carapace on the outside so the air can't move in or out, you know?
I don't really know what's going on.
Okay. So, anyway.
Some sort of alien that shoots lasers.
Right. Anyway, so Mina...
Makes clicking noises.
Mm-hmm. The new Mrs. Chairwoman.
Yes.
And that's what they call her. She's talking with Hayden, and they realize that the Dr. Romana seemed to understand a lot about tachyon technology.
Just by passing comments and saying...
Yeah, they're like, hey, is this?
How do you know so much about...
Yeah, how do you know so much about it? This is new experimental, because, they're Time Lords from the far future and all that.
Because I don't know anything about tachycardia. Never get on the treadmill.
Never? I got a treadmill one day.
Oh,
yeah.
Is it worth it?
Hmm?
You use it? You like it?
Not often.
I had this guy that who only played video games when he was on the treadmill, and every video game he'd be like, oh yeah, I played through this campaign. It took me so many miles of walking to get through this RPG like Red Dead.
There you go.
I thought that was a neat idea. So you'd walk and have a TV.
Hey, if you can do that, do that.
Kind of like a standing desk. Yeah.
There was one lady. She would only let her husband watch porn if he was on the treadmill. So he'd be on the treadmill.
Awkward.
Huh? Yeah. So if you wanted to watch porn, which apparently he liked it, he had to be on the treadmill. So he lost a lot of weight. I mean, Remember, this video is not for kids. Alright.
One way to deal with that issue.
I guess. It's like, okay, if he's going to have a bad habit, might as well make him have a good habit with it. Yeah. We'll pair the two. Alright.
Yeah.
So anyway, they realize that Dr. Romana seemed to know a lot about the tachyon technology. So they bring them to the laboratory where Hayden and Smenson?
Hardin and Stimson.
Where they're talking. And Hardin's like, hey, it doesn't work. And Simpson's like, don't worry, we'll figure it out. And then Romana and the doctor show up. Mm-hmm. The doctor sneaks away. Mina leaves with her guards. The doctor sneaks away to go off and do something. And then while Romana and Hardin are talking about it, mm-hmm. Stimson sneaks away.
So a lot of people just kind of stage direction.
Wandering off
stage.
Well, I think Stimson sneaks away because Hardin is admitting to Romana that the technology does not work.
Yeah. He's kind of freaking out. Stimson's like, stay cool. We'll get there. He's like, oh, I'm a sham. You talked me into lying about the success of the... Did you get the weird sexual tension between Mina and Brock? They were always talking about how close they are. Now they're going to be less close because she's
Hardin
and Mina were talking about.
Well, I wouldn't call it sexual tension. I would call it friendship.
Good friends, apparently. Yeah.
Yeah, but she's just. I mean, it'd be like you're friends with somebody, and they become the queen of a country, right?
You become the queen?
No.
Oh, that means. King. Are we still going to be able to do the podcast on Mondays if you're king?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Good. I was afraid we wouldn't be.
But picture you're really good friends, and then that person gets elevated to some high office, and suddenly you kind of have to. Yeah. You have to show them more respect and deference than you're used to, and that's kind of the relationship there, because she ascended to the leader of that planet. Right.
I think they have a crush.
I think it's mutual respect. I don't know. Anyway, so
he's the new Mr. Chairman. Works.
No. All right. So let's see. So anyway, Stimson leaves. He's trying to get away because he realizes the jig is up when Hayden admits to Romana the technology doesn't work. He doesn't think Romana can really help Hayden fix it. So Stimson leaves, and then he gets followed by
the Gorn.
Well, it's not a Gorn, but it's one of the reptilian creatures.
Yeah, it looks like a Gorn.
Fomori?
Famasi.
Yeah. Famasi. I keep calling it Famasi.
They look like they're made out of foam.
Yeah. And the guy turns at one point savagely and his glasses fall off and get crushed by the Famasi.
Yes, he was in a hurry.
Right.
Really Tokyo drifting around the corners of that corridor.
Right. So he winds up... Okay, so this entire serial seems like it takes place in about a 24-hour period.
Oh, yeah, all same day. Very Scooby-Dooey.
Well, no, but 24 hours, because they do have a night. He wanders into the main room, and it looks like it's nighttime. Because all the lights are turned off. And he wanders around, and he doesn't have his glasses, so he can't see things very well. And so the Famasi sneaks up on him and kills him.
Kind of like the murder at Havishire Manor kind of pacing.
Yeah. Okay, wait, so
murder happens, intrigue, mystery.
So it was him, it was he that went into the room, the cabin, and found the rubber suit of Brock, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he finds a rubber suit of Brock.
He's absolutely horrified by it.
Yeah, he's absolutely horrified by it because he knows now that Brock isn't actually human. Yes.
He's a reptilian. He's a Gorn.
Right. So that's why the Famasi killed him, because he figured out the truth.
Yeah.
Alright, so the doctor is trying to figure out what's going on with the generator. That's why he snuck off. And he comes out of the generator, and he's following a scarf, which the new purple scarf is used. Yeah, the doctor...
Just as long, yeah.
Yeah, he's wearing all purple. It's not a good outfit.
Now matches very crimson.
Yeah, it's not great. Somewhere between crimson and purple. And
he's a very 80s looking private investigator. Very loud.
He wears that outfit for this season. He was just tired of the old one. He wanted a new outfit, and that's what they gave him. And he's like, sure.
It looks way worse
than that. Yeah.
If you can't imagine, it's louder than that.
Yeah, it's just he looks like a
Carmen Sandiego.
No, a 70s pimp or something.
Yeah. The purple hat.
Yeah, everything purple. All right. So anyway, he follows a scarf, and the scarf is wrapped around the neck of Stinson.
So the reason he didn't have his scarf was because when he was...
He generator, he shed everything. Yeah.
He took his scarf off and put it on a mannequin to distract her so he could run away. And then she left the scarf, and I guess someone took the scarf and wrapped her around the neck of the dead person and put the other end where the doctor was coming
to the generator.
Yeah, so when he opens up the door, he goes, "Oh, it's my scarf," and then
he follows it through all these mannequins, and then and so Brock accuses, but we know Brock isn't Brock. But Brock accuses the doctor of murdering Stinson, even though we find out Brock murdered Stinson. And so they're holding trial in the boardroom.
Yeah, a lot of hearsay evidence.
So they have this basically mock trial. The doctor's pretty witty. And finally they're like, okay, Mrs. Chairman has to hold it. and she's like, Mina?
Yeah.
Yeah. And finally she's like, okay, we don't know how things are at the moment, but we're going to keep these two under wraps. And so they take them to...
not enough evidence for a conviction. It's a house arrest until they get to the bottom of the murder.
Take it to the bottom of it.
So no convictions yet.
And so they put these glowing rings. Wait. The doctor wasn't old yet, right?
That's the second time he sneaks into with the randomizer. Or
No.
So she fixes it. She makes an successful experiment with the scientist, and then they run out of the room, and then it becomes radioactive and breaks. So it's not really fixed.
Ramon and the scientist figure out that they need a randomizer or something. They need a way to invert the particle.
Yeah, they don't. The randomizer that they've been using in the TARDIS to escape.
Well, no, not yet.
Yeah, they figure out that kind of does what they need.
Right. Okay. But we're all over the place on this review. All right. So the
I think we're coming to terms with the fact that this wasn't a very good serial.
It
was fun, but I wanted to like it.
This season continues. Like I said, this is the beginning of a long slide. Now there are gems. There are some gems coming up.
This one felt a little messy.
There are some good serials coming up.
Cool.
But this season is only decent. Okay? It's not the first 6 seasons of Tom Baker that are great. Yeah, this season's decent, and there's a lot of downhill stuff. But there are gems. Caves of Andronazi. What's the one where the 7th Doctor cracks the...
Full circle? 7th Doctor.
Caves of Andronazi is absolutely phenomenal.
Skipping a few.
Alright. 5th Doctor has a few really good serials, including Caves of Andronazi. That's his best.
Really? That's your favorite?
That is by far considered his absolute best serial, and it's his final one.
Oh. He goes out on a bang.
Yeah. The 6th Doctor has... that's the 5th. 6th Doctor's above him. 6th Doctor has just a couple of good serials. Most notably, in my opinion, the 2 Doctors.
Nearly as long. The question mark is on his new outfit. Was it on his old outfit?
No.
No, he now has a question mark lapel,
which the question mark carries over.
Yeah.
And the 7th Doctor, McCoy.
I think he lost his paint palette.
Yeah. McCoy had... No. McCoy. The one you pointed out a moment ago was McGann. 7th Doctor McCoy has most of his final season was really good. The show was getting really good again when it was
canceled. Yeah.
They canceled it towards the beginning, but then the season was good. It was coming around, except for Survival. The Survival wasn't very good, but the rest of it was. Although there's one serial on there, Ghostlight. I've watched it I don't know how many times. I can't quite follow it. Like 3 episodes, breakneck speed, and I can't quite follow what's going on.
There's been a few serials like that, but not too bad. This one was a bit messy.
Yeah, this one.
But it's pretty straightforward too.
Super straightforward, but a bit messy. All right. So anyway, okay. So Romana and Hayden, right?
Yes.
All right. Run into Harden. Run in the boardroom. They're like, "We figured it out. We fixed it." In the meantime, Mina has started dying. Her blueberries are coming off bit by bit, and she starts dying. And we figured it out. We've got it. Although they left an experiment running while they were doing it, so they said, "Well, we need to do another test." And the doctor's standing there being judged, and what's his name? Pangoli? Pangola? Pangola. Pangol's like, "Really? You need one more test? We've got this guy here, right here." Yeah. So he points to the doctor. So they decided to put the Doctor in the generator. Oh, dogs across the alley.
Are they new?
No.
Oh, okay.
They've been there the entire time we've lived here.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah. So Romana looks at the Doctor and she says, "Hey, we figure, it'll de-age you because the experiment was to run time backwards, right? To actually have the sands of the hourglass go up. But when they left, the hourglass exploded. It was unstable. So they're like, hey, Doctor," Romana says, "Worse, it'll take 12, 15 years off you, make you 12, 15 years younger."
Instead of making 1,250 years older.
Well, no. Okay, so the Doctor is in there.
Total.
The Doctor's in there. Romana looks at Hayden and says, "Hey, we should be recording this." She runs back to the laboratory to actually turn on the recorder inside the main room. And she sees the hourglass has exploded. And she's like, "Oh, crap, we did something wrong." So she runs back and she tries to get Hayden to stop it. Hayden can't. Or Hardin can't. And then he tries to open it up, but he can't. And then the door opens up, and the Doctor comes out, and he's old.
They did a really good job with the makeup. I thought it was a different actor at first.
The makeup was fantastic.
I was like, that is tough.
Right, Tom Baker stoops down a bit to help out as well. His acting is really good, and the makeup is amazing. And it basically aged him 500 years.
Or 50. He looks like he did at the end of Shada. Kind of old man Baker.
Yeah. It's analogous.
The eyes.
Right. The makeup job is so good. The wrinkles, the lines. It's incredibly analogous of Dick Van Dyke when he put on the old man makeup back in the original Mary Poppins. And then when he played the same character in the modern Mary Poppins sequel, because he had aged into that exact look that the original character had with the makeup.
Kind of like when you see him at the end of Night at the Museum.
Yes.
Yeah.
But later. He was older.
Than that.
Yeah. But Dick Van Dyke, not Tom Baker.
Yeah.
So Tom Baker's makeup's fantastic. He looks old. End of episode 2. Episode 3, they put the Doctor and Romana under house arrest. I'm like, he was in there 500 years. Whatever sentence he would have had, theoretically, from the murder of Stenson, which has still not been proved, I figure he's served it,
So he's aged 500 years.
And now he's 1250. So he was 750 years before. 750 years old.
So there's been 750 years that have passed between him and Pertwee?
No. The Doctor as a whole is 750 years old. So,
so from Hartnell to Tom has been a total of 700.
From the birth of Hartnell.
Yes.
This was
the first.
That's the first Doctor.
Yeah.
He
had never regenerated. Supposedly.
Okay.
Except that he did.
Wait. Hold on. There's a whole thing with that, and we discussed it last time, where he's the first Doctor regardless because he's a Time Lord now. Even if he was the Timeless Child before, they fob watched it, they put in the fob watch all of the memories and all the Timeless Child, whatever race that is. And the Doctor starts as a Time Lord from that point. And he's still the Doctor, the Time Lord from that point on. And Hartnell is the first regeneration. Or the first Doctor.
Why is it that the Doctor ages if they're traveling through time? Isn't that kind of suspended his aging?
No. Okay, so if we were in a spaceship traveling faster than the speed of light, time might move. Like, we might be a year in the spaceship, and it might be 100 years outside. But it's still a year in the spaceship.
Okay.
We are going to age a year.
So, how many years is between each regeneration, would you think?
No, there's no between generations. regeneration is instant.
Right. So like he was 500 years when he was Hartnell.
You can assume that. We don't know.
Maybe he's been
he literally Hartnell does not give an age. I don't think he ever gives an age.
50 more years.
No, but Hartnell never gives an age. Later on, we finally get to ages.
So if we're working backwards, this is 750.
Say 650.
So 100 years, you think?
Yeah. I mean, we don't know. But what we do know is Hartnell was fairly old by the looks of him as the first Doctor. So he might have been 700 years old there, and we only have a few years.
I think that's my point. Is why is it that he went so long without regenerating, and then all of a sudden we get several different generations?
Because he was a Time Lord on Gallifrey, and he didn't die. When you run off and do adventures, you're a lot more likely to croak, you know? I mean, if I stay in the tavern and I'm a bartender or a cook, I'm a lot less likely to die than if I go out adventuring into the dungeons. That's the exact same thing that happened here.
They only have to regenerate through death-like experience. Like, they don't get too old and need to regenerate?
Well, Hartnell actually did. Hartnell wore too thin and regenerated. Same thing happens for
Troughton.
No, not Troughton. No. Hold on. The same thing happens with the War Doctor.
I haven't seen him yet.
No,
he's not on there.
He's actually not on there. You're correct. But every once in a while, they just age basically to death. Same thing happens for Matt Smith. The big one right there with He eventually ages to death. Takes a long time. They don't say exactly how many years, but it takes a long time. We're probably talking 1,000 or so.
1,000?
Yeah. Well, and then there's a deal with Capaldi where he's stuck in a clone loop for billions of years. That episode pisses me off.
Because of his companion, right?
Well, yes and no. The whole idea that it's like a billion clones of the Doctor rather than the Doctor himself, combined with, yes, it's all for Clara. That pisses me off. Oh, I hate Clara. And I hate Clara who. Alright. Anyway, I'm going to need some more ice. Please continue with episode 3.
So episode 3, we continue the whole Scooby-Doo kind of
it is very
set direction, yeah. Corridors, there's a lot of point A to point B, people are sneaking off, some machinations, yada yada, are going on. Honestly, I was pretty lost. There's a lot of characters. They're thrown at you real fast, and then there's a whole lot of machinations. So the Doctor gets really, really old because they kind of... You get the idea that Pangol's the main bad villain guy of the serial, and he sort of sabotaged the experience, or... He's just very opposed to what's going on. He's just the generic bad guy, Pangol. So we find out more about the history of the Famasi and the Argolians. They had that 200 years ago. They had that 20-minute war that just devastated the surface of the planet, made the atmosphere uninhabitable. So that's why they made the Leisure Hives to try and reunite different species and focus on recreation and the arts and what they have in common, so as an attempt to try to avoid wars in the future. Pangol, however, he is not super into that relegated sort of species history, because the Argolians as a whole, as a species, the sort of consensus is our planet's been devastated, our species has been devastated, we're dying out. We're not living on to future generations. We're going to create this thing for the good of humanity and then just kind of be sterile and be wiped out. And Pangol is not at all into that. He still thinks he's the one warmonger that's left. He's like, we have to get revenge on the Famasi. We're going to have a glorious empire again. Yada yada yada.
What's the helmet of whom?
Yeah, the helmet of Theron.
That's it.
That's what we're talking about. It's kind of a symbol, and you get the whole philosophical debate between Mina and Pangol, where Mina's dying. She's like, no, we have to be better than our ancestors. We can't cause more war. And then Pangol's like, we can't just relegate our species to sterile things that are going extinct. We have to reform the Argolian Empire and have our revenge on the Famasi. So it's kind of the whole character machinations going on.
Right, he is so ambitious, so warlike, so full of hate. Mm-hmm. And she's the exact opposite, because she lived the war and he didn't.
Yes.
Did you finish episode 3 or where are we?
So we're finishing up with episode 3. The episode 3 ends with
not somebody's gonna die cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Episode 3 ends with the reveal. Yeah.
So we finally have the Famasi guy. What was his name? Anyway, he confronts Brock,
the leader
who's
of the
fake human.
You already talked about how he shows up in the laboratory.
Yeah, like the sabotaged experiment thing.
Yeah. So he shows up in the laboratory, and he talked to the doctor, and they talked to Romana, and then to Hayden, or Herden, whatever. Harden. And doctor's like, well, okay, he really wants to speak to Brock. So apparently there's 2 of them at that point. So they show up at the boardroom, the doctor, Romana, and Harden, and the 2 Famasi.
The Famasis.
And the Famasi are going up to Brock. Brock's like, don't touch me. Don't let him touch me. Don't let him touch me.
He seems very germophobic.
Right.
So the 2 Famasi, they don't speak English. Like the TARDIS translation circuit doesn't work.
They're chirping. Little weird chirps.
Like crickets. However, we get the idea that Brock is also a Famasi wearing a human skin suit. And we're like, well, how come he can communicate? And the whole cliffhanger on episode 3 is that they're approaching Brock and he's like, no, stay away. And then they Scooby-Doo rip the mask off.
Yep. And it's the Famasi.
And then they episode 4, they shake the translator circuit out.
Yeah.
This little necklace.
Yeah.
He's wearing it, he imbibes it. And now he can communicate.
Right. The end of episode 3 is incredibly Scooby-Doo-ish. And it is reflective of in the future, in the modern stuff, there are these farty creatures. Farty creatures. Who, wear skin suits like that.
Gross.
Where once again, they're bigger than the suit.
Mm-hmm.
So they take off the skin suits, and they're so much bigger. Right, exactly. I can't remember the name of the creatures at the moment, but yeah, they take off the skin suit, and they're that much bigger, just like these guys.
Vacuum sealed for freshness.
There's something like that. They're
Squeeze
compacted,
into it.
Yeah. Like Spanx.
Sardine can.
You get those Spanx, and it makes you smaller.
Yeah.
All right. We haven't done that, but Anyway, in episode 3, they reveal that Brock is a Famasi. Episode 4, they also take the stuff off the lawyer who has never spoken, and he's also a Famasi.
Clout.
And then they take this disc, this plastic disc, from
Red Triangle.
Brock, right? And they put it, and the one guy puts it in his mouth. The one from Mosi, and then he starts talking in very nice English, very nice voice. He says, "I'm the Formosa government. These guys, West Lodge, who were on the contract to attempt to buy the planet, they are rebels who were rebelling against the government of our planet, and they have tried many problematic tactics. But this was the leader of them." The Formosi played Brock, and we're going to take them back. And then he takes this little grenade and lobs it at them, and it's like a web grenade. It kind of binds them up like a straitjacket. But apparently they can still walk. So Mina is still not doing well. And this Formosi's like, yeah, okay, we're going to take them home. They will stand trial. Our apologies for all that's happened to you. We'll talk about it later. So the Formosi leave. And the doctor and Pangle, the doctor and Romana leave. They're trying to actually, and Hardin, they're trying to actually leave the planet. And they leave, and then Pangle goes all apocalyptic and like delusions of grandeur. And he's like, he sees that Mina's dying. He's like, all right. Mina's like, wait, I must take. Yeah, come in. Oh, you ran out of Twisted Teas?
I gotta drive home.
No, true. But you finished all three of them, right? Okay. So Mina's like, I must take the ambassador to his shuttle. You should have this too.
This episode's sponsored by it.
No, you should have this too.
Yeah, it's just water.
Oh, okay. So Mina's like, I must help the ambassador to his shuttle. And Pangle's like, no, you will not. We must start the dawn of a new age.
Very dramatic.
Right, very dramatic. He over dramatic, and he takes the helmet, this big Spartan helmet, right, off the deal. And
it's over their hair cone and the cone head blueberry.
To be fair, that does explain why it was so tall. Actually, yeah. He says,
it doesn't explain why the sets in the corridors were so small, because they're like an inch from every ceiling. They're walking through the corridors and hallways.
Right. But he takes that helmet. He's like, we will start the new age.
Very claustrophobic.
Of, what is it? Thangol or? Theron. And...
Theron's Revenge.
Yeah. And then he... Mina is dying. And she basically falls to the floor. So, the doctor, Romana... and Hayden, they make it back to the laboratory, and they're trying to figure out everything. And Hardin and Romana are like, well, what do we do wrong? We need more of a randomizer, because the doctor had pulled out the randomizer when he was in there. Mm-hmm. We need a randomizer, and the doctor's like, what about the one on the TARDIS that randomized where we're going? Like, no, you don't take that out, because we need to stop the Guardian, Black Guardian. This is the first time we've mentioned this the last few episodes where they've gone places where he's overridden the randomizer.
They've only now mentioned,
they're only
since the ending of the Black Guardian, the randomizer and how he's been accurately piloting it is sometimes.
He overrides it, yeah. So finally, we get like they're addressing that.
Yeah, right. Sauron's been looking for the ring, and sometimes the Doctor puts it on to turn it invisible because it's convenient. But then the Eye of Sauron could see him, so he's not supposed to. That's what they're arguing about.
Right. So the Doctor's like, "Hey,"
he says, "Man, I'm tired of running."
You had a bird on your shoe, yeah. A bird. Oh, anyway,
Dicker.
Yep. So, the doctor's like, we got to randomize. And the doctor's still old. He's still like really old and big white.
He wore that makeup for the majority of the series.
No. Not the third and fourth episodes. He wore it for the third and a good bit of the fourth, but not all the fourth.
I thought it was like over half, almost half.
It was right, almost half. Yeah. So
it's a lot of makeup to wear.
So he's thinking, hey, I got this randomizer. And Romana's like, no, we can't use the randomizer. We need it. So Romana's trying to work things out with Hardin. And the doctor sneaks off. And in the meantime, Pangle is like, hey, to all the guides of what's it called?
Theron?
Huh?
Oh, which planet? Argolis?
Huh?
Argolis?
Argolis. Yeah. To all the guys of Argolis, to all the Argolians, because he tipped his hand to Brock previously that he was a child of the generator. Apparently the war had happened 40 years ago and had created sterility amongst all of the Fangolins. What's the name planet? Fango? Argolis. All the Argolians were sterile. All of them. Period. All of them. But apparently we finally find out the war was 40 years ago, but this guy looks 25. So what they were doing was they were working with the regenerator. And not regenerator,
the tachyon thing.
Yeah, the tachyon thing. The generator, but it was also called the something.
Tachyon rejuvenator.
No, not rejuvenator. Recreation.
Yeah.
Recreation. And the doctor figures out recreation. So they were apparently had been using that to try and create new Argolans. And apparently there were a whole bunch of horrible mutants at some points.
Yes.
But Pangol was the first successful recreation of an Argolan. And there are a bunch of other young Argolans that came after him, but they stopped it for 20 years till he could grow up and become a tachyon expert so that he could create a new race of Argolans from the generator. The doctor has figured this out, but he needs to take the randomizer because apparently there's 2 shields inside the generator. One that does the one thing and one that does the other. And he goes in the generator and comes out young. He comes out the way he was previously.
Yes.
750 years old. And then Pangol goes in the generator with the helmet on. And he duplicates, triplicates, quadruplicates himself into an army.
Yes.
Right. And then the army comes out.
Exponential.
Right. And Pangol's like, okay, Romana's like, no, the doctor's in there, you can't do this. And Pangol's like, take her out of here and throw her outside. And several of the new Pangols do that.
He's in charge because he's the only one that took his helmet off.
No, because he's the original, apparently.
Apparently. That's always the thing with cloning. And, it's a superhero trope where there's this one villain that can clone himself, but once he does, he doesn't know which one's the original, and they always bicker. And
yeah.
You can make more clones, but then it gets more chaotic. So
the Tick had something like that.
Something like that,
yeah. So...
the Tick. Did you watch the live action one? It's on
No, I read the comics back in the day.
Live action one's not so bad.
No.
It's pretty good.
I understood. Yeah.
They made 2 live action shows.
If I saw any of it, it would have been the first one.
That's the one with
Big Chin guy.
Yeah. What is his name? He does the voice of Brock from Venture Brothers.
Listen would know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The second live action one, they got a really great live action guy for that too.
Okay, cool.
In fact, I think I like him even more.
See the guy from the insurance commercials, Progressive? With Flo?
No, not that guy.
Okay. Where he's trying to date her?
I don't know what commercial. Maybe.
Okay, you've seen the Progressive commercials with Flo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you get the little short guy that usually is dissed, but turns out he's got a hot wife and he's amazingly rich.
Oh. No, that's not the Tick.
No, it's not the Tick. Not him. There's another guy, the big taller guy, and he shows up and he's a famous actor. And he's got that voice and that physique. And he turns out not the Old Spice. Turns out he had a thing for Flo. They dated one time years ago.
Oh, you're talking about in real life or?
No, in the commercial.
The commercial.
Yeah, in the commercials. Ham.
Oh, no.
Ham.
No, it's not Ham.
Okay, not him. Thank you, Sunshine.
He's a good-looking guy, though.
Alright. She's never on camera. She's like the voice, what's his face's
fact checker. Yeah.
Well, what's his face's mother on Big Bang Theory?
No, it's like during.
Sorry, Sunshine.
She didn't like that comparison.
Or the little guy's wife on Frasier.
He's like,
Not better.
It's like
she said
like,
not better.
The Joe Rogan podcast. And they're talking about something. He's like, Jamie, pull that up. And it's the guy behind the curtain that pulls up all the.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so the doctor went into the machine.
There's this one podcast every time they look something up on the internet, they called it Linda. So they're like, I don't know how that's Linda. And they go over here and they look up.
It's my mother's name.
Oh, there you go.
All right. So, so all these duplicates apparently of Pango are dragging out the body, or are dragging out Romana, and Hardin goes to get Mina because he realized she's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
And he picks up Mina.
She's got 1 or 2 blueberries left.
Yeah, she's got like 2 blueberries left. He's taking her in. And then Romana asks the guards where they're taking her. And the one of the guards sits around, pulls up his helmet, face mask, and it's the doctor. Back to his normal age. He says, well, you know about these things. We just have to do it. He's like, doctor! And then he disappears because he's attacking it on image. And they're incredibly unstable. And this happens for like 2 or 3, 4 more.
Yeah, so the doctor went in with the randomizer. It barely imprinted himself.
Well, remember there's the 2
tachyons.
chambers. Yeah.
Yeah. So when Pango was cloning himself, it's a weird metaphysical thing where he said the doctor on the inside, but Pango on the outside mostly.
Yeah. Because Pango was a lot shorter than the doctor. Like about 8 inches shorter than the doctor.
He has a lot of headroom in that helmet too.
That's true. So, that makes sense. So Pango was shorter, but he had all that hair. Yeah. So the helmet might reach the same point where the doctor would if the doctor wore it straight up.
Yeah.
So that makes sense actually. So apparently all these supposedly copies of Pango were tachyon image copies of the doctor that disappear. So then Pango gets frustrated. He's like, no. We must recreate the army. We can do it again. The same time Hardin's bringing up Mina, and Pango's like, no, she can't be alive. I have to be the leader. We will engage war. We will make the army. Hardin gets Mina into the machine because he's trying to save her life by making her younger based on the experiments from before. Pango rushes up, throws Hardin out of the way, jumps in the machine, kind of lifts, the same chamber, kind of lifts Mina just so he can get her out of the way of the door. The door closes, the machine starts up, and the doctor and Romana show up, and Romana's like, we can't stop it, and we don't know what's going on. The doctor's like, that's too dangerous. And he picks up a helmet, one of the helmets, and he throws it at the screen, and it explodes. And
it does.
Romana's like, no, it's too dangerous. The door opens, and there's a younger version of Mina, say 30-something.
It reminds me when I got angry at this video game I was playing. I threw a helmet at my computer monitor, and my disk drive opened up. So that is scientific. That's how computers work.
You have a disk drive.
I don't have a disk drive.
All right. Okay, but this is the way things worked in the 80s. This is the 1980s. So the door opens up, and it's a younger Mina, say 30-something. She got turned younger, along with a baby Pango. Yeah. Pink, because they couldn't put the green makeup on the baby. Yeah, because they're green.
His hair was green.
So when he's crying,
got a fresh set of blueberries.
Yeah.
She says, I'm going to raise them right
and
this
so
time.
does she. Yeah, I mean, she's like, okay, now I'm going to raise them right this time. And she ends with the doctor, and then she's like, oh, we've got to talk to the Formosi.
At some point
we had talked to the planet because we blew them up because they took off, but and the show got blown up by Pango.
Yeah.
And then the head of the government shows up. And he's like, "Oh no, actually we weren't on the shuttle. Brock stole it and ran off, and he got killed, but we're okay." Mm-hmm. She's like, "Oh, cool. Well, let's talk some things out." Yeah.
The two bad ones died, like 2 good ones
lived, right? Because he took off with it. And then she's like, "Okay, well, let's talk." And so there's hope for the future here. Mm-hmm. And the doctor's holding the baby, and the baby's crying, and he says, "Hey, Hardin." He's like, "Yeah, have a baby."
And baby.
Right, no, a baby.
An actual baby this time.
And then the doctor and Romana run off in the TARDIS and get out of there.
And argue about the randomizer a bit more.
Right. She's like, "But the randomizer's like, I'm done with that." And she's like, "But the Black Guardian," he's like, "I don't care, I'm done with it." Mm-hmm. And they leave. End of episode 4. I really 24-hour period again, incredibly straightforward. Little bit of padding and other parts were too fast, but they had to hit on those cliffhangers and reveals. Well, episode 3 to 4 was a reveal.
The whole plot subject is tachyons. It's about as clean as you could expect it to be with the sort of metaphysical, theoretical science.
Right. It's really straightforward. About as simple as a serial as you could want outside of maybe The Edge of Destruction.
Yeah.
Or Mission to the Unknown.
Just, I don't know, paced oddly.
Well, yes, a little bit. There are parts that are really fast, parts that are really slow, and there are some long bits of recap. But that's fine, yeah.
Do you think the Doctor's depressed? After being alive for 750 years, he certainly seems to not have great self-preservation. He's always taking...
If you're alive for 750 years, you have great self-preservation skills.
Apparently not. He's just incredibly lucky. Every other episode, K9's like, "There's a 1 in 10 chance this is going to work."
Okay. Remember
he's like,
the last episode, he talks about 90 lives, or, well, how many lives did Tom have? Oh, about 90. How many of you had? About 120. Yeah, he is lucky.
He's a very lucky person, but he doesn't seem like he's always taking unnecessary risks or not thinking things through. In fact, it's another moral question. I'd like to say that the Doctor is a bad person because he makes other people complacent in the dangerous situations that he creates. Like, he's traveling with his companion Romana, too. They're good friends. She cares about him. Yet, he immediately decides to ditch her and sneak into this unstable tachycardia thing to poke around in there. So much so to where he wraps the scarf he's wearing around a mannequin just to try to ditch her and go mess around with this dangerous contraption.
To be fair, that is a moral quandary that comes up later in 21st century stuff. Not as much in the old stuff, but in the modern stuff.
Really?
Yes. We'll get there. Second of all, sometimes the companion doesn't need to know what the Doctor's doing because that would endanger things. Just like we saw in Invasion of Time. Mm-hmm. The Doctor didn't tell Lena what he was doing because her mind could be easily read. He kept it all in his head because his mind could not be easily read because of the walls he put up. Mm-hmm. So the companion did not need to know. In fact, it would have endangered everything, whereas he kept everything up with all the walls in his mind.
It's this sort of savior complex of only I am worthy and only I can be the hero and sacrifice. So he does things that supposedly are for the preservation of his companions, but it endangers his own life to where he could die and then just leave his companion stranded without him.
Sometimes he dies for the companion.
He
literally dies to save one of his companions.
It just seems really irrational behavior coming from someone who's 750 years old. Every single episode we see him taking a huge risk.
Okay. Sometimes shit happens. Okay?
I feel like sometimes he's making the shit happen. But he's not.
Sometimes
he doesn't put the gloves on before putting in the little baggie.
Yeah.
It's like a dog shits and you get the little baggie and you put on like a glove and you do it. And then here the doctor says, "There's no time," and he picks it up and you're like, "Well, that's not well thought out. You could take an extra minute to do that."
He flies by the seat of his pants a lot, okay? I mean, a lot. Alright, what question? Wait, how many deaths do we have?
I don't know, 4.
Wait, 4.
2 died in the ship. Morix died. Loman died. Stimson died.
That's 5.
5 died.
Okay, 5.
I guess the spaceship counts.
5 deaths.
5,
Okay.
5 on camera.
Yes. Alright. What questions do you have?
Did we ever see the Argolians or the Famasi again?
Never. At least not thus far.
I do feel like we're about to see the Black Guardian again, though, because he's just...
We will see him in the 5th Doctor, Davison.
Oh, really? So there's
yes, they come back in the 5th Doctor's room.
Yeah. Sauron's closing in. That's about it. It's pretty straightforward. Not a whole lot of... But,
boom, boom, boom.
Did we talk about the Timeless Child yet? Or the children of the generator?
Right. You were like, it's a Timeless Child. Like, no. He specifically says children of the generator.
He's talking about being ageless and rejuvenating. And
we're getting you a notepad. You are
I'm
done
almost
with
done.
that one.
Yeah. I got a few more sheets. I want to go digital, just get a tablet and type things. It'll make it easier
fun
to
in that. Alright.
Fun, way more fun.
Okay.
We're all caught up?
We're caught up. Okay.
Caught
we'll see you next time for Meglos. Another 4-parter, since there's 7 4-parters this season.
What is it? Oh, Full Circle?
No, Meglos. Full Circle's the one after.
Oh.
I was incorrect telling you the first time, but yeah, Meglos.
Meglos.
Yeah. Like I said, and then Full Circle, if I remember correctly, is the beginning of the E-Space trilogy.
E-Space trilogy.
Yes. E-Space is a small pocket dimension just on the outside of our dimension.
Trilogy, a trilogy of serials?
Yeah, 3 serials that comprise the E-Space trilogy.
So it's like a...
Right, Full Circle, State of Decay, and Warrior's Gate is the E-Space trilogy, if I remember correctly.
Is that good? Are we
excited? It is what it is. I mean, it is packaged that way back in the day.
It's better than the Leisure Hive.
This first 6 seasons of Tom Baker are great. This season is decent.
Middling.
Yeah, middling.
I'm excited. It's fun.
Hello.
This one was okay.
This was okay. It's decent.
So stay tuned.
We'll have another decent serial next week.
Make sure to tune in next week for it's okay.
Meglos, yeah.
It's fine.
Alright. Catch you later. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Like, comment, subscribe.
It's